We're tracking a chance for rain. When and where will it fall? Coming up next at 11.
Also, right after the equalizer, the Orlando Magic, do or die. We are there for their critical playoff Game 4 tonight and what they're up against now in the series. A car crash into a crowd in Canada kills 11 people at a festival tonight. Why police do not think this was terrorism. One of the most notorious murder cases is still not over. Why it picks up again in the morning. And we're checking on an FSU student who survived that mass shooting there.
Sign up to be a News 6 Insider at clickorlando.com/insider.
The fire threat has grown, but rain is on the way. How much at 11?
Plus, we're visiting with an FSU student recovering at home now after that mass shooting, right after the equalizer.
Live from clickorlando.com and WKMG, we're getting results in your neighborhood. Now at 11 p.m.
Tonight, on the eve of one of the biggest days in Canada, Election Day, police are investigating the motive behind a driver crashing into a crowd at a festival, killing 11 people. Plus, the playoffs slipping away for the Orlando Magic, dropping Game 4 at home. But we start tonight with breaking news out of South Osceola County. Troopers say 5 people are dead after a terrible crash on Highway 91. That's near Lake Marion in Kenansville. It's right near State Road 60. The crash happened in the past several hours, just before 8. Troopers say that the people were in a van and survivors have been airlifted to the nearest hospital. So, of course, we're asking lots of questions tonight, including were there other cars involved? We'll update you overnight on clickorlando.com, on News 6 Mornings, and during this newscast if we get new information for you. Good evening to you. I'm Eric Von Anken. So glad you are staying up fairly late with us tonight on this Sunday. Our other top story, the Orlando Magic fall short in their quest to tie the playoff series against the Boston Celtics. It's now a major uphill climb as the Magic head to Boston for a potential series clincher. News 6 Sports Director Jamie Say was at the game and is still up at this late hour with us. Jamie, live at the Kia Center. This was tough.
It was tough. You know, the Magic say their job is to defend home court, and they didn't get the job done tonight. So the reality is they head to Boston in desperate need of a win. They have to take Game 5 on Tuesday to keep this playoff series with the Celtics going, to keep the season alive. The Magic fought, but fell tonight in Game 4. Now, how about the big picture margin? That is 3-1. Boston leads this series 3-1. One more victory and the Magic are done. But I can tell you this team is not ready to give in. Coming up in a little bit, I'll have more reaction from the Magic, from the players, and Ryan Welch will have highlights. It's all coming up in sports. Live at the Kia Center, I'm Jamie Say, News 6. Eric, back to you.
Yeah, a lot to talk about. What now? Jamie, we'll see you again soon. Thank you. Thousands of local and out-of-town fans packed the Kia Center and downtown Orlando. And as any sports fan knows, a big game could be a roller coaster ride. News 6's Jarrell Baker was there for that ride. All right, Jarrell, thank you. If you have been to the coast over the last week, you've probably been bombarded by Jeeps. Today there was a Jeep Beach parade. The festival's called Jeep Beach in Daytona Beach, and News 6's Jonathan Kegas and Mike DeForest, you see here, rode along in it in their own Jeep. Mike tells us the parade was supposed to start at sunrise, but due to high tide, it began some 3 hours late. That is a big duck. Meteorologist David Nazario is in for Samara. David, hardly a drop in sight there on the coast, but some people did get soaked, and more is coming.
They did, as a matter of fact, so I'm glad we bumped up those chances to 20% yesterday. We actually had a couple of special weather statements up near Ocala, the Villages, and then back over in Volusia County when those thunderstorms popped off with today's sea breeze. The radar is now cleared, just the ground clutter we typically get during this portion of the overnight hours. And again, I have my yellow oval here. You can see that collision of the sea breeze in effect, and that's exactly what's going to dominate tomorrow as this backdoor front begins to kind of work its way through. We got a smaller high pressure off our west coast, keeping this area of the front stuck up to our north, but then this dominant, the larger area of high pressure is what's going to nudge this back in towards our east coast. Temperatures outside, thanks to some of the lingering cloud cover, still fairly mild. 78 in Leesburg. The Villages at 77. We're sitting in Orlando at 74. And you can see forecast lows are going to continue to go down, not by much as we prepare for the rains. And you can see a little bit of a tug towards the west. So not all of us are going to get a ton of it. Stick around. We'll pinpoint exactly where it will fall and the timing on that coming soon. Eric?
Talk to you then, David. Thank you. One of the most violent, gruesome murder cases in Central Florida history continues again tomorrow. Opening statements are expected to get underway in the resentencing hearing in what has become known as the Xbox murders, now almost 2 decades ago. In 2004, Troy Victorino and Jerome Hunter were convicted in the murders of 6 people in a Deltona home with baseball bats. The crime scene was horrific. I was there to cover this in the days and weeks afterwards. This was over dispute about some of Victorino's belongings, including an Xbox video game system. Both men later were convicted and sentenced to death, but at the time, Florida law only required majority jury recommendations before judges could sentence defendants to death. But those are now being resentenced, both of those men, because of the new changes in the death penalty law that eliminated a unanimous jury recommendation. Opening statements are expected to begin in the morning. We'll be there. A day before Canadians cast their ballots in the federal election there, Vancouver police are investigating a terrifying car crash into a crowd. They say a man drove into people at a street festival last night, killing 11 people. We're told the driver is in custody, and this is not being investigated as an act of terrorism. However, they say the driver has a history of mental health issues. People were just enjoying the Filipino festival when a 30-year-old man rammed his SUV into the crowd. An emotional prime minister addressed his fellow Canadians and thanked first responders.
Last night, families lost a sister, a brother, a mother, a father, a son, or a daughter. Those families are living every family's nightmare. And to them and to the many others who were injured, to the Filipino-Canadian community, and to everyone in the broader Lower Mainland, Vancouver, I would like to offer my deepest condolences and my wishes for strength and compassion in this tragic time.
More than 20 others were injured. The extent of their injuries so far is unknown. On the eve of Election Day, officials say they do not see any threats to Canadians as they hit the polls tomorrow. FSU student Madison Askins is one of the 5 people who survived the mass shooting at her school, Florida State University, just a little over a week ago. Tonight she's back home with her family in the Tampa Bay area. Angelicia Bruton, a reporter at a CBS affiliate, visited Madison at her home in Land O'Lakes. Finals get underway at Florida State this week. We've learned the student union where the shooting happened will reopen in the morning for people who are ready to return. Central Florida is doing its part to keep our planet clean. Up next, we're introducing you to volunteers who are making sure their community is taken care of. Some very young volunteers on this Sunday morning for this year's Earth Day. We'll be right back. No lazy Sunday for a group of volunteers in Orlando's Paramore neighborhood this morning. Dozens of volunteers came out for the city district's 2nd annual Earth Day cleanup, even though Earth Day was a few days ago. News 6's Emily McLeod was there and shows us how this helps the city revitalize downtown Orlando and its surrounding neighborhoods. Meteorologist David Nazario back again in for Samara tonight. And that video, blue skies, I feel like that was most of Central Florida. We saw Daytona Beach earlier today.
Yeah.
But lots of people did get soaked. It's coming.
They did. It
Precursor today.
Exactly. That's precisely what we call it, too. Precursor showers ahead of the front that's working its way in. So I'm glad, again, we nudged up those rain chances to 20% yesterday because we did have a couple of special weather statements out there as well for some gusty winds. And I think tomorrow we could see that again as well. So you can see spotty rain today. We had those very isolated thunderstorms earlier this afternoon between about 5 to 7, maybe 8 o'clock. They lingered. Monday and Tuesday, I did add a little note here. Tuesday, drying out. I'll elaborate on that. The models are kind of trending away from more widespread rain for much of Central Florida. So the greatest rain chance is going to remain for Monday. And the week ahead, we are going to have a quick little drop in temperatures, especially for your Tuesday. But then as we get towards May 1st and the first weekend of May, we're going to warm right back up. So let's get you over to the infrared. There goes one of those thunderstorms. You can see that quick little poof just to the northwest of Orlando. That was right around the Villages and Ocala earlier this afternoon. This front is hung up over the border of Georgia, Alabama, and the upper periphery of Florida, but there's high pressure moving off the east coast. It's going to help to bring it back through that backdoor front, and that's what's going to be arriving tomorrow for your Monday. So a muggy start. We have some leftover relative humidity in the air. It's going to feel a little thick outside. Greatest rain chances are going to be between 5 to 10 p.m. A little more west central Florida is where it seems like we're going to be loading up. That backdoor front with all the easterly winds back behind it is going to more or less bully the west coast sea breeze and keep it confined to Marion, Lake Sumter, and Polk County. You can see on our future radar clouds and rain. By about 3 o'clock, we're going to start to see a little bit of that initiation. We could get a stray shower or thunderstorm in the greater Orlando metro area near the attractions, lake, the Four Corners point between Osceola and Polk County. You fast forward a little bit more so and look at 6 o'clock. Some of these might try to get a little on the hectic side, a little bit of sportiness to them. Gainesville, Ocala, the Villages, at around 6 to 7 o'clock, we're going to get hung up and stuck in that sea breeze collision. And then you can see as you go through your Tuesday, easterly flow dominates. And notice the radar is pretty much clear. So that's what I meant earlier when I said that the models are trending a little bit drier. You can see on our high-resolution thunderstorm model, same kind of time frame, 3 p.m. We're looking at the initiation. By about 5 to 6 o'clock, though, this model does think we can get a thunderstorm or two closer to Orange and Seminole County. But then again, if I step out of the way, notice that sea breeze stays on the west side of Florida, and then maybe some overnight stuff for Volusia and Brevard County. So you could have some thunder and lightning between 2 to 4 a.m. even. Euro, again, more conservative, not showing too much in the way of total rainfall, so we're rooting for the GFS. We want to get at least an inch of rain, especially in this general area where that extreme drought struggle is ongoing. As you can see, I've updated the fire danger graphic here. A lot of Central Florida under that high-risk threat. Now let's get you over to our extended range forecast.
Sponsored by Strata Air Conditioning and Heating. AC emergency, you ought to call Strata.
So Monday is going to be the main event. We have a 50% chance of rain. I'm not too sure why it's not pictured there, but you guys know the name of the game out there. And then as we go through the rest of the week, take a look at that. Moving forward, it does look like we have another shot for some much needed rainfall, albeit a little low as we get into the first couple days of May.
I feel like we've said this a lot the last few weekends, but just because we ticked over to 12:01, Monday just disappeared from your graphic.
Yep, it's gone. Now it's technically, so today we've got the 50% shot, several hours from now, of course.
Yeah, computer does that automatically. David, thank you. Here tonight's winning lottery numbers for you. The Fantasy 5 is 22, 6, 3, 36, and 15. Pick 2 is 30. Pick 3 is 856. Pick 4 is 3789. Pick 5 is 80415. Fireball's 5. And Cash for Life is 4, 18, 31, 34, 52. Cash Ball is 4. Brian Welch is here with sports. The Magic had a chance to make things really interesting.
This is a Magic team that has been undefeated at home in the playoffs the past 2 seasons. Once again, they brought the physicality. Tonight against the Celtics, the Stars were shining once again, but yeah, we know what happened. Coming up, a live report from Sports Director Jamie Say, if she's still awake, as Orlando comes up short in a critical Game 4. We'll be right back.
The I-4 food tour is cruising in an RV from Giant Recreation World.
You ever taste something so good that makes you mad? There's so many flavors in that. This pork is super tender and spicy.
I'm hitting up our local restaurants, trying out their signature dishes, so maybe you can figure out where to eat this weekend. Come on, photographer, I know you're liking that. It's the I-4 food tour.
Sponsored by Giant Recreation World. Trooper Steve on Patrol is sponsored by Gibson Truck World. We are the king of trucks.
Welcome back to News 6. Coming into Game 4 tonight, the Magic had pretty much done what they wanted so far this series. They've played their physical brand of ball and have relied on their 2 young superstars to carry the load. We'll be right back.
Watch Eric Von Enken, weekend evenings on News 6.